I had $2.5 million in my crypto portfolio. Then I watched it disappear. All of it. In 6 months, I went from being a millionaire to having less money than when I started. I lost everything. My Tesla, my luxury apartment, my reputation, and almost my sanity. But here's the thing. It all started with just $500. $500 that I scraped together working at Starbucks. If you're thinking about crypto, if you're already in crypto, or if you've ever wondered what it's like to make life-changing money and then lose it all, this story is for you. Because what I'm about to tell you could save you from making the same mistakes I did. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you the craziest, most painful, but also most educational story of my entire life. My name's Jake, and back in late 2017, I was just a 22-year-old kid who had just graduated from college. Computer science major, student debt up to my eyeballs, and exactly $500 to my name. That's it. $500. Now I know what you're thinking. Jake, $500? That's nothing. And you're right. Today, that might cover a weekend in Vegas, maybe a nice dinner for two. But back then, man, that was everything I had. I was living in this tiny studio apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. And when I say tiny, I mean tiny. You could literally touch both walls if you stretched your arms out. The rent was $650 a month, and I was working at this call center, making about $12 an hour, dealing with angry customers all day long. You know those jobs where you go home and you just feel empty? That was me. Every single day. But I had this dream, right? I wanted to start my own tech company. I'd been coding since I was 14, built a few websites, nothing fancy. But I believed, man. I really believed I could make something of myself. So that $500, that was my seed money. My ticket out of that soul-crushing job. Now Bitcoin. Back in 2017, everyone was talking about it. Your barber, your Uber driver, your grandmother, everyone had an opinion. But me? I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I remember saying to my roommate, "Dude, it's not even real money. You can't hold it. What if the internet goes down? What if the government bans it? It's just ones and zeros on a computer." I was one of those guys who thought gold was real money, you know? Physical stuff you could actually touch. I didn't understand technology the way I thought I did. But then came December 15th, 2017. I was sitting in my apartment, eating ramen noodles again, watching Netflix on my cracked laptop screen. It was snowing outside, which was rare for Phoenix. The whole city was basically shut down because we get like one snowstorm every 5 years. My phone buzzes. It's a notification from some finance app I had downloaded. Bitcoin hits $19,000 for the first time. $19,000 for one Bitcoin. I sat there, noodles getting cold, staring at that number. My brain started doing the math. If I had bought just one Bitcoin a year ago, when it was like $800, I'd have made, holy shit, almost $18,000 profit. That's when it hit me, like a lightning bolt. What if I was wrong? What if this wasn't just hype? What if this was the real deal? I stayed up all night researching. YouTube videos, Reddit threads, white papers. I read Satoshi's original Bitcoin white paper 3 times. I didn't understand half of it, but something clicked. This wasn't just digital money. This was a revolution. The next morning, I called in sick to work. I couldn't focus on anything else. My head was spinning with possibilities. I remember sitting at my desk, laptop open, staring at the Coinbase website. "Get started with Bitcoin," it said. Such a simple phrase, but it felt like I was about to jump off a cliff. Creating the account was easy. Too easy, actually. Name, email, phone number, boom. But then came the hard part. Verification. They wanted my driver's license, a selfie, bank account information, the whole 9 yards. I'm not gonna lie, I was paranoid. What if this was all a scam? What if I gave them my information and they drained my bank account? But I'd done my research. Coinbase was legit. They had backing from major investors. This wasn't some sketchy operation. So I did it. I uploaded everything. Then came the waiting. The verification process took 2 days. 2 days. You know how long 2 days feel when you're obsessing over something? It felt like 2 years. I watched Bitcoin go from 19,000 to 18,500, then back up to 19,500, then down to 18,000. Every movement felt personal, like the market was mocking me for not being able to buy yet. Finally, on December 17th, I got the email. "Your Coinbase account has been verified." Bitcoin was at 19,300 that morning. I did the math. $500 would get me about 0.0259 Bitcoin. Not even a full coin. But it was something. I transferred the money, all of it, every single dollar I had. My finger hovered over the buy button for probably 10 minutes. This was it. This was the moment that would either change my life or lose me everything. Click. Congratulations! You've purchased 0.0259 Bitcoin. I stared at those numbers on my screen. I owned Bitcoin. I was officially a crypto investor. That first day, I must have checked my account 100 times. The price was moving constantly. Up $50, down $30, up $20. My $500 was now $497, then $503, then $495. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept checking my phone. Bitcoin was a global market, trading 24/7. While I was trying to sleep in Phoenix, people in Tokyo and London were buying and selling. The next morning, I woke up to a beautiful sight. Bitcoin had hit $20,000. My $500 was now $518, $18 profit. I know, it's not much, but it was my $18. I had made money while I was sleeping. That's when I knew I was hooked. What happened next was, well, let's just say I became completely obsessed. I downloaded every crypto app I could find. CoinMarketCap, Blockfolio, Delta. I set up price alerts for everything. Bitcoin hits 21,000, alert. Bitcoin drops below 19,000, alert. I joined every Bitcoin subreddit, every Telegram group, every Discord server. I was consuming information like a maniac. Technical analysis, fundamental analysis, market sentiment, whale watching. I learned terms I'd never heard before. HODL, diamond hands, to the moon, FOMO, FUD, pump and dump, bull run, bear market, altcoins, shitcoins, DeFi, ICO. I was speaking a whole new language. But here's the thing. I wasn't just reading about it. I was living it. Every price movement affected my mood. Green day, I was on top of the world. Red day, I was depressed. My roommate thought I'd lost my mind. "Dude, you're checking your phone every 5 minutes. It's not healthy." But I couldn't stop, because something incredible was happening. By the end of December 2017, Bitcoin hit its all-time high of $20,089. My $500 was now worth $520. Still not life-changing money, but it was working. Then came January 2018. Reality hit. Bitcoin started falling. 18,000, 16,000, 14,000, 12,000, 10,000. My $500 was now worth 400, then 350, then 300. I was losing money fast. Real money. Money I couldn't afford to lose. My friends were telling me to sell. Cut your losses, man. This whole crypto thing is a bubble, it's over. But I couldn't sell. You know why? Because I'd done something that every financial advisor tells you never to do. I'd gotten emotionally attached to my investment. Plus, I'd been reading about something called dollar cost averaging. The idea was simple. Instead of trying to time the market, you invest the same amount regularly, regardless of the price. When prices are high, you buy less. When prices are low, you buy more. Over time, you get a better average price. It made sense. But there was one problem. I didn't have any more money to invest. The Federal Reserve started printing money like crazy. Trillions of dollars. They called it quantitative easing. But everyone knew what it really was: inflation. And smart money started looking for alternatives. Hedge funds, family offices, even corporations. They were all asking the same question. How do we protect our money from inflation? The answer was Bitcoin. In May 2020, MicroStrategy bought $250 million worth of Bitcoin. In July, they bought another $175 million. In August, they bought $175 million more. Then came the big one. In October 2020, PayPal announced they would allow customers to buy, sell, and hold Bitcoin. Not just Bitcoin, but other cryptocurrencies too. The floodgates opened. Tesla bought $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. Square bought 50 million. Marathon Digital bought 150 million. Even insurance companies and pension funds started buying. And the price? It went absolutely insane. Bitcoin went from 10,000 in September 2020 to 20,000 in December. Then 30,000 in January 2021. Then 40,000 in February. My portfolio, which had been worth maybe 8,000 in March 2020, was now worth 35,000. But that was just the beginning. Spring 2021 was when things got really crazy. Not just Bitcoin, but the entire crypto market exploded. Ethereum went from 400 to 1,500. Solana went from $3 to 50 cents. Cardano went from 10 cents to $1.20. Polkadot went from $4 to $40. And I was in all of them. See, I had learned my lesson from 2019. Instead of just throwing money at random altcoins, I did my research. I looked at the technology, the team, the partnerships, the use cases. Ethereum was building the world's computer. Solana was the fastest blockchain. Cardano was the most academic. Polkadot was connecting different blockchains. These weren't just speculative investments. These were bets on the future of technology, and they were paying off big time. By April 2021, when Bitcoin hit its all-time high of $64,863, my portfolio was worth $127,000. $127,000. I had turned $2,400 into $127,000 in less than 4 years. That's a 5,200% return. I was 26 years old, and I had more money than I'd ever seen in my life. But I wasn't satisfied. Because I'd been doing more research, and I'd learned about something called DeFi, decentralized finance. DeFi was like traditional banking, but without the banks. You could lend money, borrow money, trade assets, earn interest, all using smart contracts on the blockchain. And the returns were insane. 20% APY on stablecoin lending, 50% APY on liquidity providing, 100% APY on some yield farming protocols. I started moving money into DeFi protocols. Compound, Aave, Uniswap, SushiSwap. I was earning passive income on my crypto holdings. By June 2021, my portfolio was worth $180,000. By August, $250,000. By October, $350,000. I was making more money from my crypto investments than I was from my day job. A lot more. That's when I made the decision that would change everything. I quit my job. October 2021. I walked into my manager's office and told him I was done. 2 weeks' notice. I was going to become a full-time crypto investor. He looked at me like I was insane. Jake, you're throwing away a stable career for internet money? But I wasn't listening. I was rich. I was smart. I was invincible. My portfolio hit $400,000 in November 2021, then $500,000 in December, then $600,000 in January 2022. I moved out of my studio apartment and into a 2-bedroom luxury condo. I bought a Tesla Model S. I started eating at expensive restaurants. I was living the dream. But the real euphoria wasn't just about the money. It was about being right. All those people who called me crazy in 2018, all those friends who told me to sell, they were all wrong, and I was right. I felt like a genius, like I had figured out the secret to wealth that nobody else understood. I started a YouTube channel, Jake's Crypto Journey. I had 50,000 subscribers in 6 months. I was making money from ad revenue, sponsorships, affiliate marketing. I was becoming a crypto influencer. And then I made the biggest mistake of my life. I started using leverage. See, when you're making money hand over fist, you start thinking you can't lose. You start taking bigger and bigger risks. I opened accounts on margin trading platforms. I was borrowing money to buy more crypto. If I owned $100,000 worth of Bitcoin, I could borrow another $100,000 to buy more. If the price went up 10%, I'd make 20% profit. But if the price went down 10%, I'd lose 20%. And if it went down 50%, I'd lose everything. In February 2022, I had $800,000 in crypto assets, but I also had $400,000 in borrowed money. My real net worth was $400,000, but I was controlling $800,000 worth of assets. And then, in March 2022, my portfolio hit its all-time high, $1,247,000. $1.2 million. I was a millionaire. At 27 years old, I was a crypto millionaire. I should have sold. I should have taken profits. I should have paid off my leverage. But I didn't, because I was greedy. Because I thought it would keep going up forever. I thought I was going to hit 2 million by the end of the year. Maybe 3 million. Maybe 5 million. I was wrong, so very, very wrong. April 2022. That's when everything started falling apart. It started slowly. Bitcoin dropped from 47,000 to 45,000, then 43,000, then 40,000. Just a correction, I told myself. It'll bounce back. But it didn't bounce back. It kept falling. My portfolio dropped from 1.2 million to 1 million, then 900,000, then 800,000. I was getting nervous, but I wasn't panicking yet. I'd seen corrections before. Bitcoin had dropped 20 to 30% many times and always recovered. But this time was different. This time, the entire global economy was changing. The Federal Reserve started raising interest rates. Inflation was out of control. The war in Ukraine was causing economic uncertainty. And crypto was getting hit hard. In May 2022, something called Terra Luna collapsed. It was a $60 billion cryptocurrency ecosystem that went to zero in a matter of days. The entire crypto market panicked. Bitcoin dropped to 30,000. My portfolio dropped to 600,000. But the real killer was the leverage. When you're using borrowed money and the price drops, you get something called a margin call. The exchange forces you to either add more money to your account or sell your assets to pay back the loan. I got my first margin call on May 15th. I had to sell $50,000 worth of Bitcoin to pay back part of my loan at a loss. Then another margin call on May 20th. Another $50,000 worth of assets gone. By June 2022, Bitcoin was at 20,000. My portfolio was worth 400,000, but I still owed 200,000 in loans. My real net worth was 200,000. I had gone from 1.2 million to 200,000 in 3 months, but it wasn't over. The crash continued. In July, Bitcoin dropped to 18,000. More margin calls, more forced selling. In August, 17,000. In September, 16,000. By October 2022, Bitcoin was at 15,500. My portfolio was worth 180,000. After paying off all my loans, I had $80,000 left. $80,000 from a high of 1.2 million. I had lost over $1 million in 6 months. But even that wasn't the bottom. In November 2022, something called FTX collapsed. It was one of the biggest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world, run by a guy named Sam Bankman-Fried, who was supposed to be a genius. Turns out he was stealing customer money to prop up his hedge fund. The whole thing was a fraud. When FTX collapsed, the entire crypto market crashed again. Bitcoin dropped to 15,000. My portfolio dropped to 65,000. Then, in December, it got worse. Bitcoin hit 15,400. My portfolio hit 60,000. I had lost 95% of my peak value. 95%. I remember the exact moment I realized what had happened. I was sitting in my expensive condo, looking at my Tesla in the parking lot, and I understood that I couldn't afford either of them anymore. I had to sell the Tesla. I had to move back to a studio apartment. I had to get a job again. But the worst part wasn't the money. The worst part was the shame. All those YouTube videos where I'd been bragging about my gains. All those friends I'd given advice to. All those people who looked up to me as a crypto expert. I felt like a fraud. Because I was a fraud. Today, as I'm recording this video, my portfolio is worth $45,000. Bitcoin is at 16,800. I've lost everything I gained and more. But I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm grateful. Grateful, you might ask. How can you be grateful after losing over $1 million? Because I learned lessons that are worth more than money. Lessons that will serve me for the rest of my life. Lesson number 1. Greed is the enemy of wealth. When I had $1.2 million, I should have been happy. I should have taken profits. I should have diversified. Instead, I got greedy. I wanted more, and I lost everything. There's an old saying on Wall Street. Bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. I was a pig. Lesson number 2. Leverage is financial suicide. Using borrowed money to invest is like playing with fire. It can make you rich quick, but it can also destroy you even quicker. The leverage that helped me reach 1.2 million also ensured that I lost it all. Never, ever use leverage unless you're prepared to lose everything. Lesson number 3. Diversification isn't just about different investments. It's about different asset classes. I had all my money in crypto. When crypto crashed, I lost everything. If I had put some money in stocks, some in real estate, some in bonds, I would have been okay. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, no matter how much you believe in that basket. Lesson number 4. Profit-taking is not a weakness. It's a strength. I thought that selling when I was up was giving up on future gains. I thought it showed a lack of conviction. I was wrong. Taking profits is what separates successful investors from gamblers. When you're up 500%, sell 20%. When you're up 1,000%, sell another 20%. It's called taking money off the table, and it's the smartest thing you can do. Lesson number 5. Emotions are the enemy of good decision-making. When I was making money, I was overconfident. When I was losing money, I was desperate. Both emotions led to bad decisions. The best investors are boring. They stick to their plan. They don't get emotional. They treat investing like a business, not a casino. Lesson number 6. Success can be more dangerous than failure. When I was poor, I was careful. I researched every investment. I was conservative. But when I got rich, I got reckless. I thought I was smarter than the market. Success made me stupid, and stupid lost me everything. Lesson number 7. The market doesn't care about your personal situation. When I needed the money to go up, it went down. When I needed it to stop falling, it kept falling. The market doesn't care about your rent, your car payment, your ego, or your YouTube channel. The market is bigger than all of us. Respect it. So what am I doing now? I'm rebuilding, slowly, carefully, with a plan. I got a job again. I'm working as a software developer for a fintech company. It's not glamorous, but it pays well, and I'm learning a lot. I'm investing again, but differently. I put 60% of my savings in index funds, 20% in individual stocks, 15% in real estate through REITs, and only 5% in crypto. When I make money, I take profits. When I lose money, I cut losses. I have rules, and I follow them. I'm not trying to get rich quick anymore. I'm trying to get rich slow and stay rich. Look, I know what some of you are thinking. Jake, you're an idiot. How could you lose over $1 million? And you're right. I was an idiot. I made every mistake in the book. But here's the thing. I'm 28 years old. I have time to rebuild. I have the knowledge now, and I have the discipline. Most people never get the chance to make and lose $1 million. It's an expensive education, but it's an education nonetheless. I'm not saying don't invest in crypto. I'm saying be smart about it. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. Don't use leverage. Take profits when you're up. Cut losses when you're down. And most importantly, don't let greed control your decisions. Money is a tool. It's not the goal. The goal is freedom. The goal is security. The goal is being able to take care of yourself and the people you love. I forgot that. I got caught up in the numbers, the YouTube fame, the ego boost of being right. I forgot what really mattered. But I remember now. And that's why I'm sharing this story with you. Not to brag about the money I made, not to cry about the money I lost, but to help you avoid the mistakes I made. Because if this story can prevent even one person from making the same mistakes, then losing that $1,000,000 was worth it. So there it is. My story. The rise and fall of a crypto millionaire. What do you think? Have you made similar mistakes? Are you making them right now? Let me know in the comments. And if this video helped you, please like and subscribe. I'm going to be sharing more about my journey back to financial success. Thanks for watching. And remember, the market doesn't care about your feelings, but it will reward your patience. If you found this story helpful, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. Sometimes the best lessons come from other people's mistakes. See you in the next one.